Luke Shaman TV, joined by Chris Millington, so a 2-1 win. Thoughts on the game?
I thought I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a good game. I thought, Oldham did what Oldham do. They were slightly less direct than I thought, in actual fact. I thought they tried to build more, and that was a little bit of a surprise for us. We'd prepared for a little bit more direct play, but I thought we got to grips with that. The front three worked incredibly hard to nullify their ability to build from the back, and it became a really interesting game, and frustrating to concede another set piece, but really pleasing that we scored off a set piece, and dead pleased.
Just a couple of questions over the selection as well. Millington Ali missing out completely. What was behind that?
We knew he's been playing with a bit of a niggle in his groin. He went through the match prep yesterday, so we did all our match prep with him in the team, ready to start, and then after the session he raised the issue and said he might not be available to play, and then I got a call this morning saying he didn't feel he was capable of playing, so presented a great opportunity for Andrew Olowobori, who would have got an opportunity soon enough anyway, because he's training really well and he's done brilliantly well. He's covered so much ground, he's got us up the pitch, he's linked the play with real quality, he's really calmed us down at times in the opposition half, and then when he drifts past 2 or 3 Oldham players in the second half and gets his shot off and works the keeper, you're just wanting that one to go in because of all the hard work he's put in throughout the game.
Seemed on top early on, and then what a goal for his first goal of the season from Rob Harker.
Yeah, no, listen, I've just been speaking there. He finishes like that in training all the time. Technically, his ball striking and his finishing is as good as anyone I've ever seen, I've ever worked with, and we want to get that out of him more. Clearly, we want more goals out of him, and he's got the ability. And more often we can get him forward facing on goal, the more of them you'll see. But what we've also got to do is recognise his work rate in all other areas of the game. He's pressed incredibly well today. He's done the ugly stuff that it took him a season to learn. He's linked the play well. He's gone to war with Hogan and Raglan, who are 2 fantastically experienced centre halves. He's won headers, he's held it up. And people need to recognise his all-round contribution now, because I remember it's only 12 months ago there were 1 or 2 voices of dissent against Manny Desirui. Then come the end of the season nobody wants him to go, and I believe that within the next month or so people will be really impressed with what they see come out of Rob Harker once he's got a run of games under his belt.
Of course, not long after that, disappointment obviously conceding from another set piece, and Oldham had come close from a few before that as well.
They had, and it's something we've got to fix quickly. And set pieces were a central feature of the conversation at half time. We hadn't delivered the ball anywhere near well enough when we were trying to when we had attacking set pieces, and then clearly we conceded and had 1 or 2 hairy moments off defending set pieces. So it's something we've got to pay more attention to. I think when you lose a player like Jesse Deborah, who's incredibly strong in the air, it does weaken you in that moment. We've lost 2 actually. We've lost Jesse and Manny Desirui, who were 2 excellent headers of the ball and great on defending set pieces. And then today we've also missed Millington Ali as well, who ain't necessarily as tall as them 2, but he's good at defensive headers. So it's something we've got to look at, because we can't afford to keep conceding off those moments and giving oppositions opportunities off them.
Of course, that half-time talk must have worked with scoring off a set piece ourselves.
Well, it was a focus, yeah, because the deliveries off our set pieces in the first half weren't good enough either. I think we had 1 of them that was actually good enough, and the others were varying degrees of poor. So it is something we've got to do better on, and we will have a focus on it running into the Oxford game.
Of course, then those last sort of 10 minutes or so backs to the wall defending, able to get the bodies in the way.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there were 1 or 2 moments. The last one being, like well over the added time. I don't know why the ref continued to play for so long. It was strange. I think we got an extra minute out of the game. I'm not sure where that came from. But while I'm on the ref, I thought he was excellent today, and I thought he dealt with a really challenging game incredibly well. So much as we're quick to criticise when we feel refs underperform, I thought the referee tonight was excellent. Anyway, back onto the point. Back to the wall. I'm not so sure. I think we did have 1 or 2 moments of emergency defending, but that's what we've got to do if we're going to beat the teams who expect to be in and around the playoffs. We're going to have moments where we've got to defend, put our bodies on the line. But for the most part, our out of possession work was excellent, and the team worked really well and in unison and cohesively to keep Oldham at arm's length. And look at the front line. I mean, you know, they're starting Norwood and Nuttall and then bringing on Fondop. So, you know, for us to keep them lads at arm's length and limit them to 1 goal off a set piece, it tells you a lot about the capabilities of this team when we haven't got the ball.
That's of course makes it 3 wins out of 3 against Oldham since they've been in the National League as well.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we want to win every game. 3 wins out of 3 against Oldham don't mean a great deal when we got beat by Boreham Wood away on Saturday. So, you know, that's our main focus now. Really, just going and getting 3 points and getting the win against Oxford. That's what we've got to try and do.
Of course, great travelling support. Just over 800 showmen here tonight.
They were unbelievable. Not dissimilar to how they were this time last year. This fixture last year. And we want to build on that, just as we want to build on performances by the team. We want to encourage the fans to build on that. We want more people turning up at the Shea for Oxford City, and we want them to be as loud as they've been from the first minute to the last tonight. They've been unbelievable, but now we've got to bring that back home. And against a team where everybody expects us to beat Oxford, which will be the case, you know, they've got to stay with the team, they've got to stay behind them, they've got to encourage and keep pushing the lads forward. So they were phenomenal tonight, and we want to see more of that come Saturday.
And of course, obviously on Saturday, Oxford City, a first meeting between the two sides against a side also that haven't struggled so far since they've been in the National League.
Yeah, they have, and you know, it is one of those games. These are the ones that we planned to improve going into this season. You know, we knew we were very good against some of the top teams last season, and then we let ourselves down against those who were struggling down the bottom end of the division. And clearly, Oxford have had a difficult start to the season. So this presents an opportunity for us to show how we can be better than we were this time last year around how we look to break down difficult oppositions and teams who are fighting for their lives, and make sure we keep the back door shut. So we'll do everything we can to beat them, and you know, it'd be great if the fans could get behind the lads to try and play their part.
It's perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Luke.